pandering and bowing down to toxic family members. Always a hot button issue on Am I the Arsehole, which reminds me, g'day there guys, welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole. I'll be your host Markee, and if you love today's bloody good stories, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, smack that like button, and get ready for some good content. Let's go. Am I the arsehole for not having my stepdaughter in the family photo? So I am 32 female, my husband Jack is 36 male. We have Lydia, Carol, and Solomon together. And Jack also has a nephew from a different marriage. It's our last week of summer before the kids start school, so we decided to rent a lovely little beach cottage for the week. It's a common theme in my family to take Christmas card photos while on vacations, so naturally I wanted to take the photos while we were away. Here's the problem. Jack is white, but Anefrin's mom is black, and she turned out looking very, very much like her. I don't care what race she is, and I love her just the same as any of my biological kids. My parents, however, are pretty racist. I've limited contact with them for several reasons, so they've never met Anefrin, but we're on Christmas card terms. I don't want to send them a card that Anefrin is on because they'll make a fuss about the certain word with a hard R, child. So my plan was to take a picture with just me, husband, and bio kids for my parents and a couple other relatives, then have her be in the picture for Jack's family and our friends. But when I called picture time and told Anefrin that she wasn't going to be in this picture, but the next one, she started to look upset. I did let her take our picture though, which lifted her spirits, and we got some lovely pictures with her too. We also got some ice cream and she hasn't been upset beyond that initial moment. The trouble came later when Jack asked why I didn't want Anefrin in the photo. He said he thought that it was maybe so I could get one with all my kids. I didn't want to lie to him, so I told him why, and it was because I don't want Anefrin to be exposed to people who could potentially emotionally hurt her. And just like that, he went from being understanding to being pissed off. And I guess he said, "She didn't want you in her picture because you're black," or something like that to his daughter. And now she's upset with me too. I really wasn't trying to hurt her in any way, I did this out of care and love. But I think I could have done it in a wrong way. Am I the arsehole, Reddit? Yes, I do think you're the arsehole for this one. Why are you maintaining this relationship with your parents if they're not going to accept your partner's daughter? In fact, how did you get married to your husband without them knowing about Anefrin? That one detail doesn't make any sense. Like, would she have not been at the wedding? What's going on here? How long has it been that you two have been together and they haven't known about this child? Because I'm guessing they do know about Anefrin, and you're just ashamed to have photos with them because you don't want to hear it from them. Your behavior here has been unacceptable, and it's unacceptable for you to stay in contact with these racists. So I'm gonna go you're the arsehole for this one. Now in the comments, Illustrious Band 537 says, "You're the arsehole. Stop protecting the racists. If they are racist, then cut them out. By not having her in the photo, you are telling your stepdaughter that racism is acceptable. Shame on you." A lot of her language indicates that she's racist herself. I'm glad someone else thinks so too. It's extremely telling that she starts explaining her problem with detailing the girl's race, and not the other way around about the racist family first. She views the cause of the problem as his daughter being black, and the effect as her parents causing a fuss over it. If she had started with something like, "My parents are racist and his daughter is half black, so I don't want to hurt her," then it would show that the cause was her family's racism and the effect being on the child. She didn't say it that way for a reason. And even if she had said that, it would still be weird because she says she's no contact with her parents, to the exception of the Christmas cards. So if they fuss, who cares? If she doesn't have any contact with them, she shouldn't know they're fussing. You're the arsehole. You weren't protecting her. You were protecting you, as well as allowing your parents' disgusting attitudes to rule a situation that had basically nothing to do with them. Apologize to that poor girl immediately and check your own attitude. I think you might find something to examine there. And Just Browsing 49 says, "You're the arsehole. If you make accommodations to satisfy your racist parents, what does that make you?" Our next post is by user TA Makeup Lover, titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my coworker that if I'm not allowed to wear makeup, then he also should not be allowed to keep his beard? I, 25 female, work at a law firm. Just for context, I recently graduated, so right now I don't practice law, but I'm basically the receptionist of the office, so I see every single client that comes into the building. I also like wearing makeup, not to the point of being completely unrecognizable, but I do like to wear a full face. We recently had a meeting to discuss the dress code of the office, since some of my co-workers are having issues adapting to the in-person modality. At the end, my boss asked if someone had any other concern. My co-worker, 45 male, let's call him Mario, said something along the lines of, "I think makeup should be banned. People like OP look like a whole different person without it, and that misleads the clients." Of course, I was shocked when he said that, and I could see that a lot of my co-workers were too, since the comment was so unwarranted. I told him, well, if I'm not allowed to wear makeup, then you shouldn't be allowed to keep your beard, given that you go from a grown man to a 12-year-old when you shave. He turned really red and tried to say something, but my boss did not let him. I thought that was the end of the situation, but I found out that some of the other employees are making fun of him using the comment that I made. I now feel really bad for what I said. I told my family, and most of them agreed that what I said was more hurtful than what he said. But he shouldn't have named me and tried to make an example out of me. So Reddit, am I the asshole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I think I'm the asshole because I responded with a much more hurtful comment and attacked his physical appearance. And now my coworker is bullied over it. Look, yeah, honestly, an eye for an eye makes the world blind, but we can always play our trap card and say don't throw stones in glass houses, and that kind of negates the effects of that first spell that we've just cast. Sure, you upset him by saying what you said, but he deserved it for saying what he said in the first place, embarrassing you in front of everyone else to start off with. If he can't handle being bullied when he sought out to bully you, maybe he should have just kept his mouth shut. I'm gonna say not the asshole. Now in the comments, Claypole Jr. says, not the asshole. And he just realized in front of everyone in the office that he's now the office misogynist. He should be ashamed, and his comment should be reported to HR, if you have one, and his ass kicked to the curb. And next time, don't do the personal attack. Instead, say exactly what they say back to them. Then you need to shave your beard since you would look like a different person without it, and that would be misleading the clients. That gets your point across, and there's no way that it can come back on you. Not the asshole. Nah, I liked hers better. OP gave him exactly what he deserved. True, and I agree with you. However, do you think this is going to be a comfortable office environment for her to work in from now on? She won the battle, but ultimately she will lose the war. Professionalism is knowing when to say the right things at the right time, but also when to stop talking. You've never met lawyers. Lawyers are savage. Her cut earned her a promotion. Being absolutely verbally devastating is literally 98% of the job, and using another lawyer's own logic against them is how partners are made. Your performance is based on how good you are at one-upping each other. The reason the boss cut off the dude is because he failed so spectacularly. That's a load of bollocks that this person has just said, but anyway, Thoughtful Spiky says, not the asshole. You called him out in virtually the same way he called attention to you. If your other employees are going to tease him, he's going to have to figure out how to deal with it like a grown-ass adult. Yeah, but he shouldn't be getting made fun of since OP was clearly way out of line, not him. Sarcasm, by the way. Isn't there a saying, don't dish it if you can't take it or something? And not the asshole. He chose to show off misogynistic attitudes. You merely flipped the mirror on him, which your boss clearly recognized. Your family, on the other hand, has just shown you which attitudes they support, and it does not reflect well on them. Truly, why was what OP said more hurtful than what he said to her? I'm impressed that OP has grown up with such a solid sense of self when her, I'm assuming family, is showing their whole ass like this. And OP replies, hello, Thank you for the comment. My family, except my mother, has never liked that I wear makeup. Sad face. I guess they took this opportunity to remind me why I should not wear it. My mom is a very strong woman who taught me not to put up with misogyny, and that is why I was able to defend myself. Do you live in a culture where makeup is uncommon? So many people being anti-makeup seems odd to me. And OP replies, hello. No, not at all uncommon, but I do live in a very sexist culture. My family is against it because they think I'm trying to show off, and I truly have no idea about Mario. And our next post is by user Desi Adoptee Throwaway, titled, Am I the asshole for choosing my birth family over my adoptive family? So I, 18 female, am a transracial adoptee. I am half Indian and half Ashkenazi Jewish, while my adopters are white. My adopters were okay growing up. They never abused me, but I never really bonded with them. It felt like being raised by strangers. When I was 15, I found my bio mom on Facebook and told her who I was. She messaged me back and said that she was so happy to hear from me and if I'd be interested in having a Skype call. Well, I found out that her and my biological dad are actually still together and married, so I was able to meet him. So we started making contact again, and we opened the adoption. I confided a lot in my bio parents about how alone I felt growing up. One day when I was talking with my mum, I was feeling really emotional, and I asked why she ever put me up for adoption in the first place, and I told her how much it hurt to feel unwanted by her. She cried and she told me she loved me. She told me how when she met my adoptive parents, she was looking for an open adoption and my adopters agreed to it. When I was born, my bio mum did skin to skin with me and knew that she wanted to keep me. But my adoptive mum convinced her to still place me. She told my bio mum that they would allow visitation and that she would still get to be in my life. My adopters closed the adoption after a year. I confronted my adoptive parents about it, and they broke down crying, and they told me how much they loved me and how scared they were that they would lose me. It ended with them saying that they would let my parents visit and that we should get family therapy. However, I still have no attachment to them. I honestly don't think of them as my parents or my family. The only people who hold that title in my heart are my bio family. Well, that was all 3 years ago. And since then, I started to go to college near where my biological parents and my extended biological family live, and I'm living with my biological parents. I've also started referring to my bio parents as my mum and dad, and calling my adoptive parents by their first names. This is a source of arguments between me and my adoptive parents, because to them, their worst fear of losing me has come true. The latest argument is over the fact that I changed my name. My adoptive parents gave me a white name and used the traditional Desi name my bio parents wanted to name me as a middle name. I changed my name so that my middle name became my first name, and my middle name is the name of my bio grandmother, who I've also established a relationship with. I also changed my last name to be the same as my bio dad's. My parents threw a fit over it, and at that moment I realized I get no happiness from being around my adopters, and it only brings me stress. I am not their daughter, and I never was, so I told my adopters that I could not have contact with them anymore, and they lost it. Now my entire adoptive family is messaging me on social media to tell me what an asshole I am. Am I the asshole? And edit, I wanted to add, since a lot of people are confused, I met my bio parents at 15, and they've been in my family for the last 3 years. We have had many visits as well as weekly and sometimes daily calls and FaceTimes. I also have a relationship with the rest of my bio family, especially my bio paternal grandparents, as well as a strong relationship with my cousins on my mother's side. At 15, I started both family and personal therapy with my adoptive parents. I stopped family therapy at 18, but I'm continuing personal therapy to work through my feelings. I want you to know that I'm taking what you all have said to heart, and I'm going to discuss it with my counselor, but please stop sending me death threats and telling me you hope I kill myself or that I get a disease. Now in the comments, DTrakey56 says, "You're the asshole. Your adoptive parents raised and cared for you from the second you were born, and your bio parents had nothing to do with you until you were old enough to manipulate. Your bio parents do not deserve to be called mum and dad, and shame on you for not even giving the people who fed and clothed you throughout the years any credit at all. Your bio parents aren't perfect, and you put them on some imaginary pedestal that will, eventually, believe it or not, start to crumble." I'm just so sad. Imagine taking care of someone for years just to end up thrown away like nothing and undeserving of a single thought. Let's hope OP doesn't live to regret this awful decision. Just a thought. If you adopt someone to be praised for it, and for that person to be indebted for life, you're adopting for the wrong reasons. True, but to raise someone their whole life and for them to do this to you still makes OP the asshole. They literally stole this baby. Mum wanted to keep her, and adoptive said no, but they'll keep it open, and then they closed it. That is so manipulative and disgusting, and in DCF and in any other FFY and adopted group, we call them baby snatchers. What? How do you think that? Because OP's mum said so? Did they have a gun to OP's bio mum's head and force her to give her baby up for adoption? You're making a lot of assumptions here with no evidence. OP's mum gave her up for adoption, she chose to make the decision, and no one forced her. She might have regretted it after, but ultimately, she made the decision to do that. That's on her, not the adoptive family. Also, I don't believe that the bio mum did want to keep it open. Why should I? Because that's what they told their child after not raising them for 15 years? All the hard work was done by the adoptive family, and no, the bio family gets to come in and everyone's supposed to feel bad they gave their baby up for adoption. I'm sorry, but I don't feel bad. OP is ungrateful for her parents that raised her from a baby. Why does OP feel any connection to the bio parents that she hasn't known for the majority of her life? That doesn't make any sense. Is it because they are her bio parents? Her bio parents that gave her up for adoption and decides that they couldn't take care of a child they decided to have? Wait. I thought the adoptive parents admitted that is what happened. I don't think there was any smoking gun from the adoptive parents here. OP confronted the parents, and the parents broke down crying because they were scared they would lose OP. I don't see that as clear admission of guilt, but rather a completely normal reaction to your kid just accusing you of something like this. I'm pretty sure the "they were scared that they would lose OP" line is the reason they gave for closing the adoption after the fact. That's how I read it anyway. So if that's correct, then they did admit that the bio mum was telling the truth about what happened. English certainly is imprecise here. This confrontation happened 3+ years ago. After your kids lay down a bunch of accusations, I think it's fair to say the parents, at that time, were scared. That's the problem with paraphrasing. During the argument, which tense did the parents use? And I'm kinda unhappy says, "You're the asshole." This post breaks my heart because I'm also adopted. From another adopted person's opinion, I could never consider my bio parents my real parents after giving me up. It doesn't matter why parents give up their child, they still gave you up and you were adopted by people who wanted to give you a good life, of which they did. I feel for your adopted parents because while technically you don't owe them anything, they gave you everything, and you are discarding them like trash. Our next post is by user MysteriousFan9668, titled, "Am I the asshole for calling my mother-in-law a crybaby and saying her birthday isn't as important as my son's first birthday?" So my mother-in-law frickin' loves her birthday. She kept joking that when I was pregnant that if I went into labor on her birthday, 2 days before my due date, I better hold him in. Well, karma. He was born on her birthday and she was not pleased. Mother-in-law came to the hospital for about 10 minutes, but said she had plans and left. This year she is turning 50 and he's turning 1, and the day falls on a Saturday. I was super excited that I could have his first party on the actual day, and immediately started making plans. Mother-in-law said she's having a party that day, so I need to do his another weekend. I thought that was ridiculous because one of them is a little kid and it isn't her. I know technically we could do his in the afternoon and hers at night, but my in-laws throw crazy parties. Her 40th was like the size of a wedding and it required lots of prep, hair, makeup, so it really wouldn't fit. I refused to move the date of his party, and mother-in-law got mad and said that he won't even remember. My father-in-law then told me my son isn't the end-all be-all and she was born first. I told mother-in-law that she was being a crybaby and to build a bridge and get over it. I said he's a little kid, so his is more important than hers, and she can do her ridiculous pageant and birthday party another day, and I didn't say that part out loud. Mother-in-law is now not talking to us, but not changing the date. This means the family will go to her party, and I feel like she's being really immature. I have no regrets for what I said, but her daughters called me an asshole and now aren't talking to her brother. And edit, for everyone saying to do a joint party, mother-in-law throws huge fancy parties, cocktail attire, open bar, going until 2 a.m, and with some vulgar friends. That isn't an option, and even if it was, she wouldn't want to. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I could have moved the date as easily as she could. I know how much this means to her, and I continued to push, and now no one is talking. I mean, I think you both suck for not coming to a compromise in this situation. More communication seems to be needed, and if you couldn't come to a middle ground and figure out ways to have both parties at separate times that won't clash with each other, then that really is the fault of both of you and no one else. The excuse from the father-in-law, in my opinion, doesn't hold water. Just because she's born first doesn't mean she gets priority over this child. It really feels like they're grabbing at straws to make their argument seem stronger than yours. So I'm just going to have to say everyone sucks here because you guys refuse to talk this one out. Now in the comments, El Capitan 2020 says, everyone sucks here. Really? Nobody could find a compromise around times and dates. Grow up, everyone. It's amazing that the 1-year-old may just be the most mature person in this story. Exactly. Everyone sucks here. My daughter was born on my brother's birthday, who happens to celebrate his birthday month, and we have another niece born a few days later, so we plan all parties around each other. 1 year, I did my daughter's birthday party a month after her actual birthday. She didn't care, and was 5. Adults work with each other, not against. Agreed. I mean, both of them couldn't celebrate together, and it seems like everyone is being silly here. Yep, I even forgot the fact that I myself was born on my grandmother's 40th birthday, so we celebrate all milestone birthdays together up until this year, 40/80, because of the thing that shall not be named. I'm also her first grandchild, so it's always been kind of a special bond. That's a perfect example of dealing with this situation in a mature and loving way. Parties with Grammy, clubbing with Grammy, bonding with Grammy. You're the asshole. This one is a tough one for me. If it was her 48th birthday or her 53rd, I would be fully on your side. But milestone birthdays are allowed to be a big deal, even for adults. So I understand both your side and her side. If it were me, I'd do one big combined party for the both of them and think it was neat to have a grandson and grandma sharing a birthday. But that's just me. I'm voting you're the asshole because of what you said to her. That was just nasty. Milestone birthdays is stupid, but I've never cared much about birthdays to begin with. What gets my goat is that Opie is clearly excited to celebrate on the actual day, meaning she's imparting some kind of significance there, but thinks it shouldn't matter that her mother-in-law wants it on the actual day as well. Hypocrisy much? Look, mother-in-law will remember celebrating on the actual day, the 1-year-old won't. Also, her parties sound frickin' awesome for everyone who attends. I think the family is right to pick mother-in-law's party over watching a 1-year-old smear cake on their face. Everyone sucks here. A 50th birthday is a milestone just like a first birthday. You could have worked together and compromised, but you both seem too immature to do so. You don't seem to like mother-in-law that much anyway, so enjoy your son's party without her and half his family. I agree, But I think to me, what pushes OP into you're the asshole territory is they're both being immature, but OP made it personal with the name calling. Yeah, mother-in-law was being a bit self-absorbed, but OP is the one who got aggressive. I don't see how mother-in-law is the bad guy here. She's known to throw lavish parties. It is her 50th, so it's a biggie. She's probably been preparing it for weeks, sent invites, etc., and now her daughter-in-law is saying neither she nor her son will attend because it falls on the same day as a baby's party, and it's just too much effort for OP to have a baby party during the day and go to mother-in-law's in the evening and to change the date, and then OP resorted to name-calling. Her dislike of her mother-in-law is clear in this post, and I think a lot of this is not being upset over the baby party, but rather digging the knife in with mother-in-law. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.